Good morning.
Hey, good morning. I'm learning, I don't know how to do the floss, but I'm trying.
I can't help you with that one. You have to
Oh,
ask the
good.
students.
That's the floss, right? Was that the floss? I don't know.
Yes.
All right, it was in slow-mo, that was a floss, okay. So it looks like we've got everybody but that one child I put in that chat,
Okay.
at least from CB. We got the other child started, she's ready.
Got it.
How are you doing?
Doing okay. How's it going today? How are you feeling?
Say that again.
I just asked, how is it going today? How are you feeling?
Is it? Oh, oh my God, I feel so much better. Every day I'm better. I can walk normal. It hurts, but it's not anything like that. I mean, you saw me doing the floss. I mean, it's remarkable. Um, the medicine I had that I
Mhm.
started to take, and I'm trying not to say too much, too loud.
Oh,
Um,
you know you're recording.
oh crud. I didn't know that. Thank you.
You're
Floss.
welcome.
Um,
You
I
want me
gotta,
to log out and log back in?
no, that's fine. I
Okay.
mean, sorry. You what again? Your mic is not solid? Sorry, come over here. You're gonna be, you like to use pictures of your teachers anyway to represent you. Come over here and take the class and tell us, why is this answer what it is? There you go.
It's B because uh, it's B because the mites are taking blood from the lizards. So it's a positive for the mites and for the lizards a negative
Yeah, but why is taking blood from the lizard harmful or negative?
because it's their blood.
And so,
It's bad
why is it bad to take something's blood?
because they end up dying.
I'm sorry?
They end up dying.
They could end up dying. Would you'd also have to maybe expend some more energy to synthesize more blood? And so, that's a negative. You're taking away from that lizard a body part, essentially, right? A piece of its body or a fluid from its body that they're going to have to replace. Why is that good for the mind?
Because they're busy getting food.
Getting food. You got it. And food's always a positive. And we'll have food. In about an hour and 35 minutes, we'll have food in this class as well. Not in this, yeah, I guess in here, technically we'll have food in here as well. All right, so thank you guys for doing such a marvelous job on the Do Now. I'm gonna stop sharing the Do Now and I'm gonna go to Schoology. That's where we want to be. That's where we want to be. Everybody wants to go to Schoology. You guys did a great job with the Do Now. Fantastic job with the Do Now. So let's go to Schoology. And I'm going to open the quiz. We're going to go to the same location we were before. We're going to go to the same location we were before, and which is going to be ecology. So go to class content, ecology, and then right here, community structure through interactions. There will be a quiz after each class. So this is going to be content that we covered last time. You'll click inside of here and you'll see communities quiz 1. And I'm going to unlock our lesson for today, or I got a practice for the day. I will be quiet and you guys have 5 minutes. Communities quiz 1. You have 5 minutes. If you, I know the kids at home are probably using their notes. So if you'd like to use your notes in here, you may. I can't stop the kids at home from using their notes. So if you took notes, which you guys did, yes, you're able to use your notes. Let's see who started. Looks like, oh yeah, it looks like a lot of you guys have found it. Oh, man. There's a few of you guys that haven't found it yet. Please make your way there. Please make your way there. If you are just joining us, everybody is taking the communities quiz number 1. Please go to content, ecology, and then community structure through interactions. And please click on the communities quiz number 1. Hello. If you're just joining us, the communities quiz 1 is open for you to take. This was material from last class. It looks like many of you guys only have 1 more minute. We'll start in 1 minute. Again, if you're just showing up, community quiz number 1 is open. You go to class content, ecology, and today's date, the 26th, community structure through interactions. It's from our last class. And we'll start our lesson in 1 minute. New lesson in 1 minute.
Wow, time slips away. Time to take attendance today.
And time does slip away. Okay. Those of you guys that have finished, Crow, take a look at the question. How would you describe our campus? Is it diverse or not, and why? We'll take answers in 1 minute. That way everybody will be done with the quiz. We can get started. would you describe our campus as being diverse? How would you describe our campus? There's a lot of ways that we could kind of break this up. A ton of ways that we could think about this. Ooh, look at that. You see that? What was that? Crow, got him. Yeah. Something, Crow. Saw that? Thank you, Lennon. Don't just share it with me. Share it with everyone if you don't mind. If you're going to put it in the chat, go ahead and just drop it in the chat so everybody can see it. Don't keep all that beautiful stuff to yourself. And I love the way that you broke that up in lots of ways. We'll start discussing it in 15 seconds. There's still a few people taking the quiz. All right, that's it. So let's just, whoa, there's a bunch of, God bless, y'all are inundating us. Lennon says, yes, it is. There are many different types of people, personality-wise, and I suppose race-wise. Everyone here is different. Like some like sport, and others enjoy art. That's what's great. So you can break down those groups by if you step out of the race or ethnicity realm and think about what are people's hobbies. Yeah, you can see that. I can see that. Some people are into arts. Some people are into sports. Some people like me are into science. Dr. Smith is, she would be into science, but then if you were to just look at us, we also demographically are different. She's a lady, I'm a man. She, I guess you're African-American, I'm white. There's a lot of ways that you can kind of think about that. Let's see what else. Mildred says, yes, our school is diverse because many different people with different beliefs and racial backgrounds, and you could also have different religious beliefs as well, or even lack of those. William says, I would describe it as collaborative. And yes, ours is based on race and gender. We have a diverse campus. All right, I'm going to ask you guys this question again in a moment. So let's think of now within your new question, within your family or community, is there a pivotal person? Is there a person you think that is of real critical importance? And I'd love it if one of you guys wouldn't mind sharing. Unmute yourself and really share that with us. It would be really nice to hear what you guys have to say. It'll be really important for us to learn something that is going to be important for us in our lesson days. Is there somebody of critical importance, of real importance within your community or family?
All my parents are pretty great in the sense of like they do a lot to help support us, support like my siblings and me in my family.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that's probably true for most people. It's not always the case, but a lot of times, do they buy your clothes?
They buy my clothes, they feed me, they give me a place to stay. Like at least at birth, they didn't send me on the street.
That's right. They didn't. And do they provide you toothpaste?
Yes, they do provide me toothpaste.
Oh, good. Utilize that. Okay, so Doc, they give you things that are really important, right? For me, who do you think it was for me? And when I was a child, nope, wasn't my parents. It was a great grandparent. I had a great grandfather. His birthday was last Saturday, and I still think of that man every time he had a birthday. He was the one person who I think was most pivotal. He was more like a cornerstone. How many of you guys go to a church, and at the corner of that church, there's a big stone, there's a big brick and there's an inscription on it that may have like the foundation date. You do? What do you guys call that? It has what? It has the founding members on it? Okay, it has the founding members. That's awesome. What about you, Van Zandt? It has the same, has the founding members of that church. So yeah, usually there'll be like there'll be the pastor or the imam or whomever it was that built that building first, right? It might have the date on it, but it's at the corner of the building. And is it a big rock or a big stone or a big brick, or is it small? Medium? But you say it's pretty big. Yeah, and we're going to come back to that idea in a little while. I want to just kind of set the stage. So today we're really going to be looking at communities in a bigger, broader way. Well, I want to think about what it's composed of, its real structure. When we think about organisms, how abundant they are, what is the real diversity? How do we measure that diversity? And what are some feeding relationships? Like, how does a feeding relationship change diversity or influence diversity? And it's pretty actually really cool. There's really two big ideas that we're going to deal with really today. So which of these communities do you think is most diverse? Take a read, and I want you to tell me, is it community 1 or is it community 2? Which do you think is most diverse? Community 1 or community 2? And just think about it before you put it into the chat. You guys do keep it private. I'm just kind of curious right off the bat what you guys think. Thank you for, oh wow, you guys are, I can't keep up. Please include Dr. Smith in this, please. Please include Dr. Smith in this. Holy crap, I can't. Good, Mario, love it. Thank you for participating. Mario's the man, Mario's the man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll keep going until we get to 15. I'm at 14. I need at least one more answer. I'm at 14. Dr. Smith, are you at 15 yet?
I am at 8 presently.
Oh my God, please include Dr. Smith, please. Come on. Okay, I'm at 15 now. And it was a uniform, resounding community 1. So when you look at this community, do they have more species or not? And when you think about species, like in terms of different species, we call that richness. Is richness the same or not? Is richness, when you look at community 1 and community 2, look at the definition, is richness the same or not? Is richness the same or not? And I'm going to call on a particular person. So let's say Palacios, would you say is richness the same or not between these two groups? And really look at that second bullet point. We're just doing richness at this point. Is richness the same between community 1 and community 2? You are correct, ma'am. Yes, it has the same species, A, B, C, and D. So when you think about diversity, it's not just what groups are represented, but how they're represented. So if you look at community 1, there's an equal distribution of these species. Species A is 25%, species B is 25%, C and D, they're all 25%. But when you look at community 2, species A is the dominant species. We would say it has a high relative abundance. There's a lot more of abundance of species A than species B, C, and D. D would be have the next highest relative abundance. So when you think about our campus in many ways may or may not be as diverse as you think. If you think about in terms of ethnic demographic, it's heavily centered on, I think if I'm not mistaken, the last demographic shot I saw was about 60% Hispanic. And so maybe it's more like community 2. Richness it's really rich. There's a lot of different types of people, but diversity maybe not quite as much. So in science, diversity has a slightly different meaning than what you might think about if you were in demographics otherwise. So again, dominant species, we do have dominant species. So they may have a large impact on that environment. And if we think about the school, what do you think would be the dominant species here? If you think about people in the school, who do you think would have the most abundance, have the highest biomass? Which group would have the highest biomass? Teachers or students? Students, that's right. So the students would be the dominant group. You guys probably have more influence over us than we have over you. I would think that's why I think Wednesday was such a cool day. I had so many of you guys in class, and I was really excited about that. So you guys really changed things. Another term that's new is probably going to be invasive species. There's invasive species, and again, I've made these terms red that you really need to focus on. So an invasive species is something that's introduced, it's new, it's from somewhere else. And I like to think about invasive species using analogies. I think it's important to try to use an analogy to illustrate these points. So when you think about an alien species, some important points are brought by people. These are organisms that were brought from one environment to another environment. Classic example is probably at least one of you guys in here had planted some plants around either your house or apartment or wherever it is you live in the past, probably a couple weeks. Has anybody planted any plants around their house or seen a neighbor or anybody else planting anything around their house? You did. What did you guys plant? Or what did you see planted? You got some cactus. There's not a lot of cactus that goes native around here, so it might not, if it got out of your yard and started reproducing somewhere else, it could become an invasive species. You guys brought that from one location to a new location, and that would be an invasive species. Sometimes they can outcompete this. So it would be, if I brought, you could think of it in terms of, maybe even think about it like Europeans. When Europeans came to North America, they did not have, they outcompeted a group of people. Who did they outcompete? Europeans when they came here. What was the group that was already here? What was the group that was already here? I'm sorry? Yeah, Native Americans, and American Indians, Native Americans, they were already here. And look at the third point. So Europeans, when they were in Europe, they didn't necessarily have a predator, but they didn't have something to regulate them. So if it was the British, let's say it was the British, that was, mostly North America, probably what you're most familiar with. What kept them in check in Europe and didn't let them just spread all over Europe, the British? What kept them in check there? The kings, that's right. And so the king of France is going to say, heck no, you can't come in here. This is France. Or the Kaiser of Germany would say, you Brits, you better stay out of here. Norway, all these kings and queens of these other countries had borders, and you couldn't just go willy-nilly across Europe, but you could, if you came to North America, those regulators, those other people here in North America, they didn't have these, gunpowder and horses and and these carriages. They didn't have these modern things, and they were just ramshot. So I'm going to give you guys a little quick video to watch, and then we're going to get started. If I can get this to minimize, excuse me for just a second. Maybe I'm going to. Let's see if I can get this sucker to work. Come on. I'm having a problem here. There we go. Let's make sure my audio is working. Audio is working. It is. And here we go. You might want to listen really carefully.
Rapidly growing, consuming, adapting, they conquer, jeopardizing local economies, threatening human health, and devastating entire ecosystems.
As whole rows of cherished landmarks are condemned, brought home to town-dwelling citizens are the rigid precautions being taken by the Department of Agriculture to save this tree from extinction.
Invasive species are non-native organisms that cause considerable damage when introduced to a new area. These species compete with native wildlife for resources and thrive at the expense of the local ecosystem. The introduction of invasive species is often associated with human activity, Boats that travel between different bodies of water can carry hitchhikers, such as the zebra mussel. One of the most notorious invasive species in the United States, these rapidly reproducing mussels clog pipes and overtake beaches in the Great Lakes. Some invasive species, however, are introduced intentionally. In the early 20th century,
Look, that's
cane
Julian.
toads were brought to Australia as a form of pest control. Today, these poisonous amphibians number in the millions and have caused a decline in native predators on the island. It's not just animals. Bacteria, fungi, and plants can also become invasive.
That cactus.
Brought to South Africa in the 19th century, the black wattle is an invasive tree often used for timber and firewood. This beautiful tree and other thirsty invasives are depleting the country's already record-low water supply. Because of their impact on human health, ecosystems, and infrastructure, invasive species cost the global economy over $1 trillion each year. Many measures can be taken to help limit the spread of invasive species, but the most effective method is prevention. By carefully cleaning boats before transferring between different bodies of water, not releasing exotic pets into the wild, and planting gardens with native species, we can help prevent the spread of invasive organisms.
Stop it, Lopez.
Every living thing has evolved to play a specialized role within their ecosystem. In the ultimate balancing act, even one invasive species can drastically tilt the scales.
Oh,
If we stay mindful of our role in the spread of these organisms,
that's
we
Van
can
Zandt.
prevent invasions before it is too late.
Awesome. That was pretty good. So, the thing that you really got to remember is there is for you guys, and we want to think about this beyond just like learning this to do well on a STAR test. What is it that you really need to know in order to be a good citizen in the United States or a good citizen of the world? You don't want to be accidentally cause a problem that is going to wreak havoc in the community. If it costs jobs, if it costs other wildlife their habitat, it displaces organisms. That's a bigger problem than just the outcome of a simple test. You guys do have some measure of responsibility. The dominant species on our campus is an invasive species from China. It's a privet, and that plant that's all around our campus that you see that's really green and low to the ground. When trees, when they release their acorns, they go to the ground. They can't get sunlight because that plant's there. It's going to be probably the only plant species on our campus, or at least for a tree within, I don't know, 20, 30 years. It's killing the environment. It's killing a lot of places in Arlington. So there's a really aggressive program to get rid of it. It's a good volunteer opportunity if you want to get involved. Arlington Parks and Recreation takes volunteers every summer, and that shows up on your college resume. Next one, I'm going to get back to my grandfather, get back to your church, get back to your parents. We would call all those that have a lot of strong control. And again, this is a keystone species that have a lot of control in the environment. That's a keystone. So the analogy that you guys had was that your parents, when your parents are there, you get to have, the children are also present. They give you food, they give you a habitat, they give you shoes, they even give you guys toothpaste. But in this case, we've got an example here that we have a starfish. So in this case, the starfish is regulating this environment. This starfish is actually eating these mussels and regulating this environment. So you can see here, Pisaster, this is the starfish, and this is without the starfish. So number of species present, and you can see when they remove these starfish, the number of species drop to about, what would you guys say that is on that axis right there, that point on that axis? What would be that number? Drop it in the chat. Yeah, I can hear you guys. Let's see, let's get some people at home. Drop it in the chat. Do it openly, not to me, not to Dr. Smith, but to everyone. Yeah, good job, good job, good job. Anywhere between, yeah, there's some of you guys are saying 2 to 3 to 2.5. Yeah, there's a lot of answers there. I think it's probably closer to 2 than it is to 3. It's a little low. But without these starfish, you could drop to 2 species present in the environment. But with the starfish, you can see we're ranging anywhere from 1963 at probably 17 to 20 in 1973. So there's a lot more organisms that can be around when you have a keystone. So the founders of your church gave you guys an environment where more members could join because they set the stage. Your parents built your home so that you could thrive. My great-grandfather set the tone for our family so that we could live and teach us like how to be a good community member. These are keystone species. Let's look at another keystone, a classic. So look at this. This one's a little more complicated. Which one is the keystone in this example? What is the keystone species in this example? Did you set that timer, Bersenio? Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry? Keep looking. Keep looking. I'm getting answers in here of kelp, and I'm saying keep looking. There you go. Let's get some students at home. I can't see everybody at home. Let's see. How about let's get Giselle. Giselle, what do you see as a keystone here, Giselle? Giselle, what do you see as being the keystone? Are you guys friends with Giselle? Like good close friends? Yeah. You are? Can you text her and say, oh, there she is. Yes, ma'am. It is a sea otter, sweetheart. Thank you. You didn't have to call her. It is. It's a sea otter. And check it out. It's really cool. If you look at this graph, it's really interesting. So the bottom of the food chain is kelp, right? So you need a healthy food chain because if you have food, everything else depends on that, low on the food chain. These are our producers. Then we got our primary consumers that eat the kelp, and then we've got sea otters that eat the sea urchins. And then obviously, you have whales that will eat sea otters. But what you can see here is as sea otter abundance decreases, as we lose sea otters, we get a gain in sea urchins. So here you can see sea urchin biomass is low. You've got a lot of sea otters here to eat these sea urchins. But when you lose sea otters, you get a lot of sea urchins. And if you do that, you lose your kelp. You lose your food chain. Without food chain, everything else collapses. The sea otter is the pivotal, is the most critical, is the most important organism in this food chain because it keeps regulating these sea urchins. When these sea urchins take over, it's a mess. So going back to Mildred, you and Van Zandt. So you guys are regular churchgoers? Okay, what causes plague? So it's a classic example of something in the Bible. What was the organism that would wreak havoc occasionally? An organism. An apple? An organism that would wreak havoc. They would call them, there were plagues of them. Not a snake. Not a fish.
Locusts?
There you go. There you go. We got 3 people that dropped it in the 2 on the top and then Lopez here. It was locusts. It was grasshoppers. Those grasshoppers ate the grass. When they no grass, no food chain. You collapse the food chain. And that was a plague that was a real problem. Last one is a foundational species. Now, foundational species, there's very few of these, very few. In fact, I can only think of 2 others than a beaver. A foundational species is an ecosystem engineer. What they do is they alter the physical environment. They change the landscape. What do beavers do? What do you guys do? What would a beaver do that changes the landscape? What do they build? Okay, there you go. There's it. I got a lot of kids in here. Dams, all in here, and then plus in the chat. What do dams build? So they build a dam, and then what does that build? It causes the water stop flowing. If the water stops flowing, then what do you get? Well, you get new organisms that come in the area for sure. But what does, when you build a dam and the water stops flowing downstream, but upstream, what do you build? What is it? What's going to happen to all that water instead of it flowing downstream? It's going to accumulate and build a what? A pond or a lake. Yeah. Oh yeah. Shoot, there's a lot of kids here. It's going to build a lake or a pond. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. Sorry, I missed you guys. Yeah, it's going to build a pond or a dam. Excuse me, is going to build a pond or a lake. A dam. I don't know what's wrong with me. Yeah, and it's going to change. And so then you get different species. These are foundational. They build a new ecosystem that wasn't there before. So we're going to work on vocabulary again today. How much time did I have, Brasenio? 2 minutes. We're 2 minutes early. Lopez is happy. She's sick of listening to Mr. Pope. She's like, I hate listening to this guy all the time. He's so, that's not true though, is it, kid? It's not. Can you see Schoology now? Or do I need to do it again?
It's not showing.
Not showing. Okay, here we go. You guys can all see that. Yay. All right. So you guys can go to ecosystem influencers. Influencers like that you guys watch, like Rodolfo likes this kid on the internet, I know. You guys, influencers cause you guys to change your behavior. So we'll call these ecosystem influencers today. And you guys, we're going to focus really on three primary ones. And this ought to be really easy. You guys did really well on that. I'm going to check your quiz grades whenever you guys are doing this. So we got invasive species. Invasive species are typically pretty bad, right? They're going to influence you to make some poor choices. Keystone species are pretty good. They build communities, right? They keep the community strong. They keep the foundation of your church strong or your family strong. In this case, they keep the ecosystem and the food chain intact. Foundational species are going to create that environment, which is very close to keystone. The only difference is foundational organisms physically change the environment. Physically change it. Here is the classic example from Dr. Smith and I. Let's take a look at it. Make sure that we know 25 points for each part. So identify the role of the organism. Well, that's easy. It's already there, an invasive species. And you can study this before you take the next quiz. Invasive species, how the role supports or harms the ecosystem. Well, the zebra mussels harm the ecosystem because they filter out the nutrients. They're literally filter feeders, and they filter out all these nutrients that could go to other organisms. They also take the physical space of these organisms, so then nobody has a place to live. They become the dominant species and they decrease diversity. And it says here, by increasing biodiversity, hold on, make sure I did this. Organisms will have more nutrients. Oh yeah, a consequence of the removal. I was about to say, I'm crazy. If we do that, we can increase biodiversity. And diversity is a good thing. You want diversity, just like you want diversity in a community of humans. You want diversity in an ecosystem because it makes it stronger. It's like the fabric. The more threads you have in a shirt, the more strong your shirt is. If you take parts out, you don't. That was my cue. Thank you, sweetheart. We're dead on time. So you're going to go to your groups. Here we go. And I think there's only 6 groups today. So you're going to be slightly larger groups. You'll have a slightly more diversity, so to speak. All right, you guys can join your groups and you're only going to have 15 minutes. Open that. Remember, only one, just like last time, only one person submits. Decide who that's going to be. Only one person submits. Go for it. Bigger groups this time.
Did you want to check and see the assignment list, how that looks?
What do you mean?
Right now, I'm in room 3.
Oh yeah.
Class versus, yeah.
Let's see. I'll probably have a window into most of these today. I got a window into 6. I got a window into 5. Window into 4. Window into 3, window into, I do not have a window into number 2. I cannot see
If
into
you
number
could
2.
switch out from
Yeah.
from 3 to 2.
All right, here we go.
All right, thank you.
Oh, no worries. All right, let me go check you guys out. You need some power, kiddo? All right. 15 minutes. Let's get this knocked out.
Alonzo, are you able to join your room?
I'm sorry? Were you asking me a question, Dr. Smith? Oh. Who you with, Rodolfo? Who? Okay. Who's gonna be one submitting? That's the first step. You gotta use your microphone, that way people can hear when you get this thing started. It just makes it go so much faster. Open your mic so I can talk. Hey. Who's gonna submit? You need, okay, she said, okay, Peyton did. All right, tell her to send you that document, you gotta start working on it. Who's submitting in your group? You are? All right, are you sharing the emails with? Okay, cool, so we're ready. Who's submitting in your group? You are? And they shared their email? Okay. So you gave her your email? Yes, you gotta give her the email so she can give you the document. Who's submitting your group? Okay, cool. Did you send them your email? You gotta send your email so you can amend the document too. What about you, Kara? Oh, you're with me. Who's submitting in your group, Kara? Emma, you sent her your email so you could help? Okay. Arsenio, who's submitting in your group? Who? Oh, you're in the group. Okay, Lopez, what about you? Who's submitting in your group, Kara? Huh? Are you on the document as well? Okay, well, good. This is by far, this 2B class. I swear, when we look at the demographics for, when we look at the different kind of, we study the scores for the not just benchmark, the interview, the star, these kids are going to kill it. This is going to be the class. This is going to be it.
Yeah, the class for the hot flyers, so, and this is just what I see perfect, so.
I think greatly.
Yeah. This class is gonna kill it. Look at that bird. That bird's beautiful. That's a crow. Not my crow, actually.
How much more time do they have?
12 minutes.
12, okay.
How are they doing? I'm looking in here.
Oh, go ahead.
I was like, I hadn't seen group 2. I've looked into the other groups. How are they doing?
No, they're going strong. They decided on the Asian carp, so.
That's classic. That's good.
yeah,
I'm glad
so
they're hitting.
working on that one.
I'm glad they're using those because I have seen on the star, I have seen mussels. That was the most recent.
Zebra mussels, yeah.
I think so. I know you guys are working with each other. I'm sorry. What do you guys remember from the benchmark? What did they use for invasive species? Do you remember the organism? There should have been one question. Do y'all remember any? I don't remember one. I'll have to go back and look and see what it is.
Got
But
it.
they've used the Asian carp in the past.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's the one they're working on, and they are going strong over there, so.
Good. They may.
They probably should be done soon.
Yeah, I was thinking this one might not have to go 15 minutes. It might go much quicker.
Yeah,
Much quicker.
so they were sharing their documents and working back and forth. When I first went in, they were already like on the second part.
Have you seen online for, let me see, the other B-Day classes, how the benchmark worked out for the makeups today?
So for the most part, they showed up because I have the roster pulled up right now. Oh, you meant that, I'm sorry, their results? No. I
No, not
haven't-
results. I'm just like, how many
Oh,
of
who
them?
showed up? Yeah, so the majority of them did show. I am seeing right now one, two people that did not show for B-Day.
Including the one person for 2B or not?
I'm sorry, three people. No, the one person from 2B that you mentioned earlier. Wait, who did you mention earlier? Let me look back in the text. Oh, okay. Let's see. Yep, no, they completed it.
Okay, good. So
Yeah.
we're at only two not, right?
That is, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Everybody else that's on here that did not show is A-Day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If these kids all stay in person, I think what I'm gonna start doing is like actually printing out these assignments so that they can actually do some physical work on paper. And there's 3 people that are just gave me thumbs up in here saying they would much rather do that. So if these kids stay, well, too bad. You're outvoted. These kids are like, oh yeah, I'm sick of being on the computer. So there may be some groups that we just stick to paper. It might give them something else to do, a little more tactile than clicking a button all the time. I'm sorry? Well, I'm not gonna out them now. That prefer paper over computer? Well, ask them around here. Ask them who prefers paper. Who says paper over computer? Who would like paper over computer? Who would rather? I get these 2 right here are going to say it, but there was another person that gave a thumbs up too. No, there was another person that gave a thumbs up that is not, they're scared because people are trying to get aggressive with them. All day long. And the research shows that if you actually write, you remember more than if you just look and type. They actually did a study on that this year.
I think a combination of the two is important as well, just because the technology is not going anywhere. If anything, it's going to become more inundated. So just having the versatility of being able to acquire knowledge and interact in on a digital platform, as well as have those supports when needed, as needed, to be able to write and jot down thoughts. Being able to navigate between both is going to be definitely very beneficial.
I find that
I mean, I'm very tactile as well. And so I'm always writing notes, but at the same time, I know that I have to train myself to become more immersive in technology and how I'm interacting like in an online platform, just because that's the nature of where we're going as a society.
Yeah, I'm going to drop this. This study was released just this last week. It was multiple universities that did a study in multiple countries because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to drop it into the chat now. Here's one of them. And they were looking at memory retention on a digital environment versus writing and how students performed. Let me see if I can hear it.
Yeah, I find myself even when I'm doing something online, I always have a notebook, and I'm jotting down information, on the side. Even if I have that same information in front of me on the screen, I'm still making points about whatever it is that I'm looking at so that I can go back to it. But that helps me retain that information, or be able to, in a glance, go back and look at something so I don't have to pull it up from a slide or whatever the case may be. So
yeah, it's there was I think they're probably citing the same articles, but those were two new sources for it.
Mhm.
I'll be curious. I'll look at whenever we go back to, my computer's glitching all of a sudden. Hold on. There, okay, it stopped. We did it last class too. It started flashing. It stopped.
Okay.
Like in here, I was looking at who did user notes when they took the quiz and who didn't.
Mhm.
Compare those people to the people who did not, like a control group, and see what the scores were like. Be interesting to know. All right, that's 10 minutes. How much time do you guys think you need?
I'm gonna go check on them and see where they are, if they need any more time.
I've got one hand. Everybody else is done already? How much time? I got 4 minutes. 4 minutes, okay. We'll go 4 more minutes.
So group 2 is good here. They are done.
They're already done?
They are done.
Okay. You're going to present, but it's gonna have to be fast. We get out at 11, if I'm not mistaken. So that's 19 minutes. So we'll have 14, we'll have 15 minutes. That's 4 minutes. We'll close. We'll have 15 minutes to present. It won't be too fast, but I want to, give you guys some time to make any kind of corrections that may be needed. Okay, 2.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes. What? Are you guys done? Yeah. Okay. And you guys are all the same way, right? This is English. You guys are done? What is foundational? What is your foundational species? What is that? Do you know for a fact that worm is foundational? Awesome. What's this for you? What do you guys have? You guys have that? So you guys use worms as well. Huh. What about you?
What kind of worm did you use?
Gray holes? That's a
What
great
kind of worm
example.
did you use? First one. Oh.
Yeah, so there's the European night crawler came to North America when Europeans came and fundamentally transformed the soil. It's an invasive species, like that big worm you guys see around here. It's a European worm that came over, and it totally changed the soil, which made agriculture actually better. It's funny. It's foundational, even though it's both foundational and an invasive at the same time. It's crazy. What did you use the worm? No, what did you use? Oh, wolves too. Yep, they're keystones in Africa. That's awesome. Okay, guys. Okay, we're good. So we're all ready, right? So, okay, we're good. Okay, we're ready. They are ready.
Perfect.
Yep, I'm going to close the rooms and here we go. They did that in 14 minutes.
How many groups? A total of 6 groups? Is that
6
correct?
groups.
Okay.
Excellent. We got some good examples through these kids here. See, make sure you guys submit so we can take a look. Make sure that you submit so we can take a look. You don't believe me, just watch. We got 2 groups that have submitted. Thank you. Let everybody get in here. Make sure that you submit so we can take a look. Don't believe the niggas, just watch. Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, 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 the niggas. Don't believe Ethan, just watch. All right, there's 4 groups. We need the 2 other groups to submit. Now that you're all back, please have the person that's going to submit for your group. Go ahead and submit. Yes, Lopez? Yeah, oh, thank you. There you go. Please go ahead and submit. So we are at 4. We need the other groups to submit as well. Make sure everybody's name's on. You did include the names, correct? You did put everybody's name on that document? You did? Mildred, you put everybody's name on the document? Perfect. Make sure that you guys have done that. Let's try it one more time. Excellent. We got all 6. Look at you guys. We told you you're the best class. We told you that. So let's take a look at, let's just go for this group. Go for, ooh, look at that carp. That's nice. The carp harms because it causes less diversity in the ecosystem. The carp eats many insects, including worms. It causes competition with other fish.
Are you able to adjust it so that it shows up as the main image?
Say again? Oh, you
I was
can't. You
asking
guys
if you-
can't see.
Yeah, because it's showing it.
Oh, thank you. There we go. There we go. You can see it now?
Yes, perfect.
Yay. Okay. Yeah. So they use an invasive species, this Asian carp, and it's all over, especially on the East Coast, man. It's ridiculous from like Louisiana all the way up to Illinois and back to points east. It's taking over the river systems, Tennessee, Ohio, and Mississippi valleys. So it really does. It outcompetes. And if you'll look, you can see it decreases diversity. And that's really a key point here. You get less diversity in the ecosystem. They're out competing other native species by eating their foods and taking their space. The consequence of removal, if we were to remove it, insects and fish would overpopulate, causing competition for resources between it. If you were to remove them from the water, it would clear up and algae would grow faster. Insects and fish would I don't know that they would overpopulate. I'm going to submit that back, because I do think that they would establish what had been an equilibrium in that environment before. I don't know that they would necessarily overpopulate, that the other organisms would be able to compete for the first time. They've been out-competed, but they would return back to something normal.
So we just say it returns back to equilibrium?
Yes, the ecosystem would be able to return back, because if you remove the species, it would be able to return to equilibrium. So we're going to unsubmit that, let you make that correction. I like doing it this way. That way you guys can see where you went wrong, especially before the dadgum quiz next class. Let's see here. The most wonderful children in the school, Mildred. So Mildred, your group. What did you guys have, Mildred? Oh, y'all had foundational species. This one's awesome. This one's tripped out. It's worms, right? And that's crazy. They engineered the soil. So let's see. Earthworms can also have harmful effects. For instance, their casting worm excrement can increase erosion along urban streets. Consequently, while earthworms in the soil, we would have food, less food. Hold on a second. Without, or we have more food, less food, and more population. I'm not understanding. Could you help us out with we would have more flooding. I was misreading that, and less food. Yes. They aerate the soil. Oh, I see that. Yeah. So without earthworms, the plants couldn't do well. Without plants, we wouldn't have all the other organisms that come from that. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. All right, nice. Earthworms, foundational species. Okay, so let's go to another group. Let's see what we get here. If I can please get over there. Let's see, that is going to be Zion's group. Zion Olapade. And you guys had Keystone. This is with Lopez. Identify the role of the organism. The organism is a keystone. It's an African elephant. Okay, so it keeps the grasslands open. So without elephants, what would happen to the grasslands? It would become a what? What would the grasslands become if we did not have elephants? According to this, it would become what? What would a grassland become without elephants? And this is a real problem because we're losing our elephants because of poaching. They're killing the elephants. What would our ecosystem become? Instead of a grassland, what would it be? Oh, like a forest. Absolutely. It would. It would become a forest. That they are pivotal. All the grassland organisms that live there would no longer be there, including zebras, or you mean zebras? I don't know about zebras, but zebras, yeah. So, and zebra, by the way, is not a proper noun. Just a heads up on that. African is, but elephants isn't. Yeah, they wouldn't have a grassland. If they didn't have grassland, they wouldn't have grass. They didn't have grass, they wouldn't have a place to roam. They really do keep the environment intact. There's always a keystone for every ecosystem. African elephants for the African savanna and grasslands. Good one. That's a nice one. Let's see another one. The most beautiful children in the room. Venegas. Oh, you guys did Lobo, see, or what? It was Lobo. It was wolves for you guys, or what? I was just trying to remember when I was walking around. What did you guys have? Keystone here. A keystone here is going to be the wolf. They regulate prey, the populations that eat the plants. You'll probably kind of get a theme here is keystone species are often going to be predators or large organisms. They have a really unusually large effect on the ecosystem. They support the ecosystem by keeping the prey in check. So like if they eat all the deer don't eat all the grass. And if the deer don't eat all the grass, then there's enough food for other organisms. Nice. If wolves went extinct, the food chain would crumble, the elk and deer would overpopulate and eat the cow and other livestock's food. Yeah, we could have a food shortage of our own if we did not have wolves. It's possible. When you remove wolves, the ecosystem falls apart. Look at that keystone analogy where they put that real important brick there, right? That keystone, like in your house of worship, you've got that keystone that has that's symbolic. It's nice. Good job. Lots of times it is a predator. Lots of times it is a predator. That's a keystone. Let's see what Peyton Washington has. Peyton Washington. Peyton, we miss you in class, kid. I miss you. You got to come up here and visit with us. Okay, an invasive species. There are species that are brought to environments by humans. That's true. The green crab. Whoa, I've never heard of this one. Harms the ecosystem by having a big appetite that affect commercial shellfish in the industry, eating all the worms. Oh, wow. So these green crabs eat the worms, which then feed the oysters. And if the oysters don't have food, then they all die out. And then we don't have food if we eat oysters. Okay, so you have large ecosystems of gains. Remember, when you remove these invasive species, you get some conservation gains. Animal populations will increase in more moderate gains for animals. Okay, would biodiversity increase or decrease with the removal of an invasive species? Increase or decrease? Let's see. I haven't heard from today. Samira Mohammed, would biodiversity increase or decrease if we pulled out the green crabs? Would biodiversity increase or decrease if we removed the green crab? Would ecosystem become more diverse or less diverse? Samira Muhammad, it would, oh, no, it would increase it. It would increase. Good, thank you for trying. But when you remove the green crab, you give space for all the other organisms to live. You give other food for organisms. So remember, invasive species are bad news. They decrease biodiversity. So if we remove them, biodiversity increases. Thank you. I now know you're paying attention. Good job, kid. Thank you for playing. And then our last child, most wonderful child in the room. Who is that going to be? It's Woodley's group.
And group 2 did make that adjustment as well.
Oh, good. Okay, so let's see. Woodley. I think you guys have worms too. Foundational. Nice. Yeah, worms. Worms help increase the amount of air and water that gets into the soil. So roots have space to grow. There are castings, and castings are just poop. And so their poop is fertilizer. They eat all this dead stuff and poop fertilizer. They also feed my chickens in my backyard. It's really nice. I've got a worm garden, a worm bed in my yard. Yeah, we would have less foods without earthworms. Earthworms are pivotal, foundational species. It's kind of cool to think you are alive because of things like a worm, or things like a bacteria that give us all this resource. Let me go back to, I think I've got our exit ticket up. Let's see. Yep, it's right here. Oh, crud, what happened? There it is. Ta-da. What do you think? Today I want to play with a little data. Let's see. Kind of goes back to our last lesson. I want to get back to the idea of competition. And let's see. Looking at using a data table, please put your answer in the chat. Please put your answer in the chat. Remember, a niche is your total sum of resources in an environment. I had a person in the chat that says, what's a niche? A niche is, like my niche is, I am a teacher, so I am not competing with an architect. They're working in a different place, and I am teaching. Dr. Smith and I are teachers, so we don't compete against architects. Our niche is a classroom. That's where we exist. So what do you guys think is the answer? Thank you. All right, here they come. Here they come. Please include Dr. Smith on this. Thank you, Mildred. Thank you, Lennon. Please, include Dr. Smith on this. There are 23 of you. We've got 3 of you. Thank you, Williams. Keep it private at this point. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Van Zant. Thank you, Aloza. Holy crap, here they come. Thank you, Clarissa. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 10. Thank you, Ethan. We're going for 23. Hurry, 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 hurry. Thank you, Zion. I'm at 12. I'm at 12. Can we get a 13? Can we get a 13? 13, 13. Looking for 13. Can we get a 13? 13, 13. Can we get a 13, please? 13, 13. Get a 13. Please include Dr. Smith on your answer. Thank you, Kennedy King Morgan King. And we're at 15 now. Keep it up. Can we get 16? 16. Can I get a 16? 16. We're at 17. Looking for 17. 17. Come on, we can hit 23. Please include Dr. Smith. Thank you, Samira Muhammad. We're at 18. Need 18. Need 18. Can we just need 5 more of you guys to get everybody. Don't be scared. You take it. And you are correct, most of you. There were 4 of you that said it was split between A and D.
Mhm.
And it looks like these are not competing. Look at species A. They prefer nest site from 1 to 5 meters above the ground. Some are above 5 meters to 10 meters. Some are below 5 meters to greater than 1 meter. But look at this. All of the nests in this species B are going to be greater than 10 meters. So these are not competing. They use different parts of the tree. They're using the same tree, but they're using different parts of the tree. So in this case, I am not an administrator here. I'm not a dean. I'm not in doing the dean's job, even though we both work in the school. They work in the dean's office. And then Dr. Smith and I work in the classroom. You guys did a good job. You guys go play in the street. We'll see you guys Tuesday.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Yay.
Enjoy your weekend.
Yes, ACT. We gotta go. Oh, don't stay. Yeah, ACT. Yes, ACT.
Mhm.
All right, you guys be good.
Bye, Madeline. Bye, Mildred.
Oh, Madeline. All right, be good. I'm gonna go to ACT.
All right.
All right.
And I'm gonna run in the street.
Yeah, do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Late at night.